March 18, 2025. The text came while I was reviewing acquisition documents for our Series C funding round. Mom, Madison, we need to discuss Easter plans. I knew that tone. Even through text, I could hear the carefully measured words that preceded disappointment. Me, what's up? Mom, your sister Ashley is bringing Christopher to Easter brunch. He just made junior partner at Whitman and Cross. Harvard Law summa cum laude. Your father and I want to make a good impression. I waited. There was more coming. Mom, you understand this is important for Ashley's future. Christopher comes from a very prominent legal family. His father argued before the Supreme Court. We're hosting at the country club. Still waiting. Mom, perhaps it would be better if you sat this one out. You know how these attorneys are, very achievement-oriented. When they ask what you do, well, we don't want things to be awkward for Ashley. There was. Me, you're uninviting me from Easter because Ashley's fiancé is a lawyer? Mom, not uninviting. Just suggesting. You dropped out of law school, Madison. You work for some tech startup nobody's heard of. Christopher and his parents will be talking about cases, legal strategies, partnerships. You'll feel out of place. I looked at my office, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking San Francisco Bay, my name on the door reading, Madison Harper, CEO and founder. On my desk sat the March issue of Forbes with my company on the cover. Legal Tech Revolutionaries. The startups killing big law. Me, I understand. Mom, you're not upset? Me, no Mom. Have a great brunch. Mom, we'll do something in May, just us girls. Maybe lunch at that nice Olive Garden you like. The Olive Garden I liked. I hadn't eaten at an Olive Garden in 4 years. But that was their image of me. The daughter who peaked in undergrad and never quite figured out the next chapter. Let me back up 6 years. I graduated Princeton with a 3.9 GPA, double major in computer science and political science. Got into Yale Law, Harvard Law, and Stanford Law. Everyone assumed I'd pick Harvard. Dad went there, Ashley was already there, it was the Harper family tradition. I picked Stanford. Moved to Palo Alto. Made it through 1L year with top marks. Then I had an experience that changed everything. Spring semester I needed a document for a mock trial. Simple contract review. The law library charged students $200 for access to legal research databases. It took me 6 hours to find relevant case law. 6 hours of searching through archaic interfaces that looked like they hadn't been updated since 1995. I complained to my roommate, a CS PhD student. This is insane. We're training to be lawyers and the tools are from the Stone Age. He pulled up the database. Madison, this is garbage code. I could build something better in a weekend. Then why doesn't someone? Because lawyers don't know tech and tech people don't know law. You know both. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about it. Legal research was a $10 billion industry built on subscription models that charged firms $400 to $1,500 per attorney per month. The technology was deliberately opaque to justify the cost. And it was all completely unnecessary. I could build something better. I dropped out of Stanford Law 3 weeks before finals. Dad didn't speak to me for 6 months. Mom cried. Ashley called me the family embarrassment. I moved into a studio apartment in San Francisco with my roommate Chin-Lee. We maxed out credit cards, lived on ramen, and built the first version of Lex AI, an artificial intelligence platform that could do legal research in minutes instead of hours at 1/10 the cost. The first year was brutal. Law firms wouldn't meet with us. You're a dropout and a CS student. What do you know about legal research? Investors laughed us out of meetings. Legal tech? Lawyers hate change. Good luck with that. My family stopped asking about my life. At Thanksgiving year 1, Ashley was in her 2L year at Harvard. The family couldn't stop talking about her law review position, her summer associate offer at Whitman and Cross, her networking with federal judges. Mom turned to me. And Madison, are you still working on your little project? We just signed our first client. A small firm in Oakland. How nice. Her tone said it wasn't nice at all. Ashley, tell us more about the Whitman and Cross partner you impressed. Dad leaned in. Maybe you should go back to school, Madison. It's not too late. I could make some calls, get you into a good program. I'm building a company, Dad. You're wasting your Princeton degree on a fantasy. Ashley's going to be making $200,000 as a first-year associate. What are you making? Anything. I was making $30,000 a year and sleeping on an air mattress. But we had 12 clients and our AI was getting smarter every day. I'm figuring it out, I said quietly. Ashley smirked. Some of us don't have to figure it out. Some of us planned ahead. Year 2 we raised $2.3 million in seed funding. Silicon Valley investors who actually understood what we were building. Our client base grew to 200 small and mid-sized firms. Revenue hit $800,000. I hired 15 people. Rented an actual office. Started paying myself $75,000 a year. At Christmas, Ashley announced her engagement to Christopher Whitman IV. Yes, from that Whitman family. Harvard Law, junior partner track, family legacy going back 4 generations. The dinner was the Christopher show. His case wins. His partnership trajectory. His family's legal dynasty. His father's Supreme Court arguments. The Whitman name on buildings at Harvard. Mom kept glancing at me like I was a stain on the tablecloth. When Christopher politely asked what I did, Ashley jumped in. Madison dropped out of Stanford Law to start a tech company. It's cute. Legal tech actually, I said. We're disrupting legal research. Christopher's smile was patronizing. Disrupting? That's ambitious. The legal industry is pretty resistant to change. I've noticed. What's your revenue? About $800,000 this year. He nodded like I'd confirmed his worst suspicions. Small potatoes. Whitman and Cross bills $800,000 in a good week. Legal tech startups come and go. But firms like ours? We're institutions. Dad agreed enthusiastically. Exactly right. Madison, you should hear this. Christopher understands how the real legal world works. I bit my tongue and changed the subject. Later, Ashley cornered me. Stop trying to compete. You dropped out. You failed. Just accept it and move on. I didn't fail, Ashley. I chose a different path. A path to nowhere. Christopher makes more in bonuses than your entire company's revenue. Know your place. Year 3 was our breakthrough. We raised $28 million in series of funding. Signed our first big law client. A top 50 firm that cut their research costs by 60% using Lex AI. Then another. Then 12 more. Revenue hit $15 million. We had 120 employees. Tech publications started calling us the future of legal research. I was invited to speak at Stanford Law about legal innovation. I didn't tell my family. They'd stopped asking. At Easter Year 3, Christopher and Ashley announced their wedding date, September 2025. Christopher's parents would be hosting an engagement party at their Connecticut estate. Very exclusive guest list, Mom said. Judges, senators, legal luminaries. I'm sure it'll be beautiful, I said. Well, Mom hesitated. It's really more for Christopher's professional circle. You understand. I wasn't invited to my own sister's engagement party. Ashley had the grace to look slightly guilty. It's just, Christopher's parents are very traditional. They asked for the guest list to reflect a certain caliber. I didn't meet the caliber requirements. Christopher added, no offense, Madison, but my father's firm represents Fortune 100 companies. The guests will be federal appellate judges, law school deans, managing partners. Your startup thing just doesn't really fit the atmosphere we're going for. I understand, I said. I did understand. I understood perfectly. Year 4 we went exponential. Series B funding, $95 million led by Sequoia Capital. Revenue, $67 million. Clients, 400 law firms including 12 of the AM Law 100. Employee count, 340. We expanded internationally. London office. Singapore office. Sydney. LexAI's AI could now draft contracts, predict case outcomes, automate due diligence, and do it all at speeds that made human associates obsolete for routine work. Big Law was terrified and adapting simultaneously, cutting associate hiring, slashing research budgets, restructuring their entire business model around our platform. The Wall Street Journal called. They wanted to do a feature for their April issue, the 30-year-old CEO killing Big Law's golden goose. The interview was scheduled for March. Publication date, Easter Sunday, March 31st. March 18th. The day Mom uninvited me from Easter. I sat in my office reading her text. Chinley knocked and entered. The Wall Street Journal photographer is here for your cover shoot. Cover. They upgraded from feature to cover story. Said your disruption numbers were too significant to bury on page 6. I looked at Mom's text again. Your father and I want to make a good impression. When they ask what you do, we don't want things awkward. Madison, you okay? I'm perfect. Let's do this shoot. The Wall Street Journal profile was comprehensive. 4 pages. Photos of our offices, our tech, me presenting at a legal tech conference to 3,000 attorneys. The headline, Legal Tech CEO Disrupts $50 billion Industry, How Madison Harper's AI Destroyed Traditional Legal Research and Made Big Law Obsolete. Key quotes from the article. Harper's Lex AI has single-handedly forced the legal industry to confront technological irrelevance. Firms that once charged $400 per hour for junior associates to do research now use AI that works faster, cheaper, and more accurately. With $67 million in revenue and 400 major firm clients, Lex AI is valued at $580 million in the private market. Industry analysts predict a $2 to $3 billion valuation if Harper takes the company public. Her AI has eliminated an estimated 8,000 legal research positions while making legal services 60% more affordable for clients. Harper is unapologetic. If your job can be done better by an algorithm, you should learn to build algorithms. The article mentioned I dropped out of Stanford Law, but it framed it as visionary. While her classmates studied for the bar exam, Harper was building the technology that would make much of what they were learning obsolete. There was a sidebar, How Lex AI Works, with technical specifications that made our AI sound like science fiction. And photos. Me in our server room. Me with Chin Lee. Me speaking to the California Bar Association about the future of legal practice. The issue was scheduled to hit doorsteps Easter Sunday morning. March 30th, the day before Easter. My phone rang. Ashley. First time she'd called in 8 months. Madison, I need to ask you something. What's up? Christopher's firm. They've been talking about some legal tech company that's destroying their research department. Cutting associate positions. His dad is furious. Okay. Is that your company? Are you the one doing this? I smiled. Why do you ask? Because Christopher's father is having an emergency partners meeting about the Lex AI threat. They're trying to figure out how to compete. Are you Lex AI? I'm the CEO and founder, yes. Silence. Long silence. Ashley. You're the one putting attorneys out of work? Christopher's firm just laid off 30 associates because of your AI. Did Christopher make partner yet? What? No, he's still on track, but... Then tell him to learn to code. The legal industry is changing whether Whitman and Cross likes it or not. Madison, this isn't funny. Christopher's family has been in law for 4 generations. You're destroying that. I'm destroying inefficiency. If Whitman and Cross adapted instead of resisted, they'd be one of our clients making more profit with lower overhead. But they're stuck in 1985, charging clients $400 an hour for work an AI can do in 4 minutes. You sound proud of yourself. I am. We've made legal services affordable for middle-class clients who could never afford big law before. We've eliminated billing fraud. We've made the law more accessible. Yeah, Ashley, I'm proud. Mom's going too. Mom uninvited me from Easter because I'd embarrass you in front of Christopher's family. So I don't really care what Mom thinks. She hung up. I went back to work. We had a product launch Tuesday. Easter drama wasn't my priority. Easter Sunday, March 31st. I spent the morning in my Pacific Heights apartment, the 3-bedroom condo I'd bought for $4.2 million in cash last year. Had breakfast on my terrace overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge. Did yoga. Caught up on emails from our London office. At 10:47 a.m., my phone started ringing. Declined. Declined. Ashley. Declined. Christopher. That was new. Declined. A number I didn't recognize with a Connecticut area code. Probably Christopher's father. Declined. The voicemails were spectacular. Dad, Madison, I'm holding the Wall Street Journal. You're on the cover? You're a CEO? Why didn't you tell us? Call me back immediately. Mom, sweetheart, everyone at brunch is asking about you. Christopher's father is here and he's very upset about your company. We need to talk about this. Why didn't you mention you were in the Wall Street Journal? Ashley, Madison, you've humiliated us. Christopher's father is furious. He's saying you're single-handedly destroying the legal profession. How could you do this to us? Christopher, Madison, we need to discuss your company's practices. My father wants to meet with you. Call me back. Unknown number, refined, angry voice. Ms. Harper, this is Christopher Whitman III. We need to have a serious conversation about your company's predatory impact on the legal industry. Call my office Monday morning. I poured mimosa and read the text. Ashley, everyone is staring at you. Ashley, Christopher's dad is livid. Ashley, Mom is crying. Ashley, how long have you been planning this? Mom, why didn't you tell us you were successful? We could have been supporting you. Dad, the managing partner of Christopher's firm is at our table. He's asking very pointed questions about you. Call me. Ashley, you did this on purpose. You planned this to ruin my Easter. I texted back to the family group chat. Happy Easter. Enjoy brunch. Then I muted the conversation. At 2 p.m. my doorbell rang. I checked the camera. Mom, Dad, and Ashley. They'd driven from the country club directly to San Francisco. Still in their Easter outfits. I almost didn't answer. But curiosity won. Madison. Mom rushed in, eyes red from crying. Why didn't you tell us? Dad was holding the Wall Street Journal like it was evidence at a trial. You're worth $580 million? Ashley looked like she'd been slapped. You let us think you were failing. I gestured to my living room. The custom furniture, the original art, the floor-to-ceiling windows with bridge views that screamed eight-figure success. Did you really think I was failing? Or did you just want to think that? Mom's eyes swept the apartment. This place must cost $4.2 million. I paid cash. Dad sank onto my $15,000 Italian leather sofa. You've been living like this and you never told us? You never asked. In 4 years, none of you asked a single question about my company. What we did. How we were doing. Nothing. That's not fair, Ashley protested. You were so secretive. I wasn't secretive. I was ignored. There's a difference. Madison, please. Mom's voice cracked. We didn't know. If you'd just told us. Told you what, Mom? That I was building something? I tried. Year 1, Thanksgiving, I mentioned my first client and you asked Ashley about law review. Year 2, Christmas, I mentioned our funding and Dad told me to go back to school. Year 3, Easter, I mentioned speaking at Stanford and Christopher lectured me about how real law works. The room went quiet. You decided I was the family failure, I continued. The daughter who dropped out. The disappointment. It was easier than being interested in what I was actually doing. But you could have, Ashley started. I could have what? Forced you to care? Beg for your attention? I was busy building a company that's revolutionizing an entire industry. I didn't have time to convince my family I was worth their time. Dad found his voice. Madison, I'm sorry. We made assumptions. But you have to understand, Ashley was at Harvard getting on law review, landing these prestigious positions. And I was building something that makes law review obsolete. But you couldn't see that because you were too busy being proud of Ashley's conventional success to notice my unconventional success was bigger. Ashley's face flushed. Bigger? You're destroying the legal profession. I'm disrupting inefficiency. There's a difference. Christopher's father says you're putting good attorneys out of work. I'm putting inefficient business models out of work. Attorneys who adapt are thriving. The ones who refuse to evolve are struggling. That's called progress. That's called being ruthless, Ashley snapped. Do you know what it was like at brunch? Christopher's father reading about you, getting angrier with every paragraph? His partners asking me how my sister could betray the legal profession? Mom crying because she didn't know her own daughter was on the cover of the Wall Street Journal. Sounds uncomfortable. It was humiliating. Weird. That's exactly how I felt when you uninvited me so I wouldn't embarrass you in front of Christopher's important lawyer family. That landed. Mom tried again. Sweetheart, we want to make this right. We want to be part of your success. We're proud of you. Are you? Are you proud of me or are you proud of the Wall Street Journal cover? Because those are different things. Both. We're proud of both. Then where were you 4 years ago when I was sleeping on an air mattress and eating ramen? Where were you 3 years ago when I signed my first major client? Where were you 2 years ago when we raised $95 million and I made the Forbes 30 Under 30 list? Mom blinked. You made Forbes 30 Under 30? 2 years ago. I didn't tell you because you'd already made it clear you thought I was wasting my Princeton degree. Dad looked devastated. Madison, please. We made mistakes. We want another chance. To do what? Be proud of me now that other people are? Claim credit for my success when you spent 4 years dismissing it. Ashley cut in. This is vindictive. You're punishing us for not being mind readers. How were we supposed to know you were building something huge if you didn't tell us? You never asked. My voice echoed off the windows. In 4 years, Ashley, you never once asked me how my company was doing. You called it cute, and my little project, and told me to know my place. You uninvited me from your engagement party because I didn't meet Christopher's caliber requirements. You excluded me from Easter because my job would be awkward compared to Christopher's Harvard law pedigree. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. It was easier to have a dropout sister to feel superior to. I was your cautionary tale. The family failure who proved you made the right choices. The silence was suffocating. Here's what's actually happening, I said quietly. You're not here because you're proud of me. You're here because I made you look foolish in front of people you wanted to impress. Christopher's father read about how my AI is destroying firms like his, and now you need to do damage control. That's not true, Mom whispered. Isn't it? If that article had run on any other Sunday, would you be here? Or would you still be avoiding me because I'm the daughter who doesn't fit your image of success? No answer. I thought so. Dad stood. What do you want from us, Madison? An apology? You have it. Recognition? You have it. What else? I want nothing, Dad. I genuinely want nothing. I have a company that's changing an industry. I have employees who believe in our vision. I have investors who valued my work at $580 million. I have respect from the people whose opinions actually matter to me. We're your family, Mom said. Are you? Because families show up. Families ask questions. Families support you before the Wall Street Journal tells them to. You're my relatives. But my family? That's Chin Lee, who believed in me when I was nobody. That's my team of 340 people who trusted me to build something revolutionary. That's the investors who saw potential when you saw failure. Ashley's phone buzzed. She glanced at it. Christopher wants to know if you'll meet with his father. No. Madison, please. Christopher's partnership review is in 6 months. If his father thinks our family connection to you is a liability. Not my problem. How can you be so cold? I learned from the best. You were cold when you uninvited me from Easter. Mom was cold when she suggested I'd embarrass you. Dad was cold when he told me I was wasting my degree. I'm just matching your energy. They left. Mom was crying. Dad looked older. Ashley looked furious. I poured another mimosa and checked my phone. The Wall Street Journal article had gone viral. Legal Twitter was having a meltdown. Big law partners were writing think pieces about the death of traditional practice. Young attorneys were reaching out asking how to get jobs at Lex AI. And my family group chat was exploding. Ashley, I hope you're happy. Christopher's father is talking about the partnership being delayed because of family associations with legal industry disruptors. Mom, please call us. We can work this out. Dad, your sister's career is at stake. Can you at least meet with Christopher's father? I typed a response, then deleted it. Typed another, deleted it. Finally, I uninvited myself from this conversation 4 years ago. You just didn't notice until now. Then I left the group chat. April 2nd. My assistant knocked on my office door. There's a Christopher Whitman 3 here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment, but he's insisting. Send him in. Christopher Whitman 3 was exactly what I expected. Silver hair, $5,000 suit, presence that filled a room. The kind of man who'd argued before the Supreme Court and expected everyone to remember it. Ms. Harper. Thank you for seeing me. I'm curious what you want to say. He sat without being invited. I'll be direct. Your technology is destroying the business model my family has built over 4 generations. Associates we've trained are being laid off. Research departments we've invested in are obsolete. You're dismantling the legal profession. I'm dismantling inefficiency. The legal profession will adapt. You're 29 years old with no law degree and you're lecturing me about the legal profession? I have a Princeton degree in poli-sci, 3 years of law school, and I built an AI that does legal research better than any associate at Whitman and Cross. So yes, I'm lecturing you. His jaw tightened. I want you to understand what you've done to my family. My son's partnership is now in jeopardy because of his association with you through your sister. My firm has lost $40 million in research billings. We've had to restructure our entire associate program. And your clients are paying 60% less for better work. You're welcome. This isn't a joke, Ms. Harper. I agree. It's not a joke. It's the future. Firms like yours can adapt and thrive or resist and become obsolete. That's your choice, not mine. I want you to slow down. Give the industry time to adjust. I almost laughed. You want me to sabotage my company so you can protect your outdated business model? I'm asking you to show some professional courtesy. Like the courtesy your son showed my sister when he told her I didn't meet the caliber requirements for their engagement party? Like the courtesy my family showed when they uninvited me from Easter so I wouldn't embarrass them in front of you? He blinked. I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you don't. You've been too busy being outraged by my success to notice how your son treated my sister's family. Here's what's actually happening, Mr. Whitman. You want me to fail so you don't have to change. But I'm not failing. I'm succeeding spectacularly. And you have two choices. Become a Lex AI client and cut your research costs by 60%, or keep resisting and watch younger, smarter firms eat your lunch. You arrogant. I prefer confident. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting with 3 a.m. Law 50 firms who are ready to enter the 21st century. He stood. Christopher is going to leave your sister. Then he'd be doing her a favor. A man who bases his relationship decisions on his father's business grievances isn't worth marrying. You're going to regret this. I regret nothing. I built something revolutionary while people like you told me it was impossible. I succeeded while my own family dismissed me. I'm on the cover of the Wall Street Journal while you're having a tantrum in my office. The only thing I regret is not realizing sooner that your approval was worthless. April 15th. Ashley called. Christopher broke up with me. I waited. His father said marrying into a family with legal industry antagonists would damage his partnership prospects. So he ended it. 4 years, Madison. 4 years of my life gone because you couldn't just be normal. Ashley. No. I need you to hear this. You destroyed my relationship. You humiliated our parents. You made me look like a fool at my own Easter brunch. And for what? To prove you're smarter than everyone? To get revenge. I didn't do anything to you, Ashley. I built a company. That's it. You timed that article for Easter on purpose. The Wall Street Journal set the publication date. I didn't even know it would be Easter until a week before. I don't believe you. I don't care. Ashley, your fiancé dumped you because his father can't adapt to industry change. That's not my fault. That's Christopher choosing his father's approval over you. You should be angry at him, not me. Everyone at the country club saw that article. Everyone knows you're my sister. They're all asking why you're trying to destroy the legal profession. I'm not destroying it. I'm evolving it. And if your country club friends can't tell the difference, maybe you need better friends. You've always been jealous of me. Admit it. You dropped out of law school because you couldn't compete with me. Ashley, I dropped out because I saw a $50 billion industry ripe for disruption and I had the skills to do it. Your law review position is impressive. My $580 million company valuation is transformative. Those aren't the same thing. I hate you. No, you hate that I'm successful in a way you didn't predict and can't control. You hate that your conventional path didn't make you special. You hate that the sister you dismissed is now more successful than you'll probably ever be. She hung up. The Series C funding closed. $240 million led by Andreessen Horowitz. Post-money valuation, $2.3 billion. Lex AI Dow had 800 law firm clients. Revenue was projected to hit $180 million by year-end. We employed 680 people across 7 countries. I was named to the Forbes 30 Under 30 Hall of Fame. Time magazine put me on their Next Generation Leaders list. Harvard Law invited me to give the commencement address. Ironic considering I'd dropped out of Stanford Law. My parents sent a card. Congratulations on your success. We're very proud. Love, Mom and Dad. No phone call. No visit. Just a card. Ashley sent nothing. November 2025. I bought a house in Atherton. $22 million, 6 bedrooms, vineyard, guest house. Had a housewarming party for my actual friends and colleagues. Chinley toasted me. To the woman who dropped out of law school to kill law school. You're a legend. My head of product. To Madison who saw the future and built it. My general counsel. A former Whitman and Cross partner who jumped ship when he saw which way the wind was blowing. To disruption, evolution and making the law accessible. Someone asked if my family was coming. This is my family, I said, raising my glass to the room. The people who believed in me when I was a dropout with a crazy idea. The people who worked 80-hour weeks to build something revolutionary. The people who didn't need the Wall Street Journal to tell them I was worth knowing. Later, on my terrace overlooking the valley, Chinley found me. Any regrets? I thought about Mom's text uninviting me from Easter. Ashley calling my company cute. Christopher lecturing me about how real law works. Dad telling me I was wasting my Princeton degree. No, I said. You can't regret outgrowing people who were never going to grow with you. Cold, she observed. Honest, I corrected. My phone buzzed. Mom from a number I hadn't saved. Madison, your Aunt Carol saw you on Time magazine. She asked why we haven't mentioned you. Can we talk? I deleted the message. Family? Chinley asked. No, I said. Just people who wanted front row seats after the show was over. I looked out at the valley, at the companies being built, the futures being created, the old models being destroyed by better ones. My company was valued at $2.3 billion. I'd revolutionized an industry. I'd made legal services accessible to millions who could never afford them before. And I'd done it all without my family's support, approval, or belief. Which meant I didn't need any of those things now. I raised my glass to the people who'd actually shown up. The ones who'd believed before the headlines, celebrated before the valuations, saw potential when others saw failure. My real family.